The scourge of pandemic has brought to surface millions of examples of untold sufferings and tragedies across the globe. People have lost their jobs, while few had some savings to tide over. Many are left without any support system. Families have lost their near and dear ones. Businessmen have been left without capital. Children are unable to go to school, and parents, especially the poor ones, are unable to afford online tutoring. Farmers are suffering due to lack of finance, mobility, and manpower during harvesting. So the question I would like to answer is this: could such a pandemic paralyze all entrepreneurial activity, or will it boost up? Is entrepreneurship during pandemic a myth or a reality? Is it possible metaphorically to repair the ship in the middle of the stormy ocean? Despite all these unprecedented tremors we are witnessing day in and day out, few have been able to rebuild their lives, while the rest have been left clueless. The answer lies in the phenomenon called resilience. When the 9/11 happened in New York, or 11/26 happened in Mumbai, both the cities exhibited enormous resilience in the aftermath of the tragedy. In 1947, when the partition between India and Pakistan took place, we know thousands of people lost overnight virtually everything they had in life. They had to start life afresh from absolute scratch. We have examples of many rising like phoenix from the ashes and becoming well-known entrepreneurs. Life doesn't present itself with a GPS embedded map, but everyone will experience twists and turns and misleading detours, from everyday challenges to traumatic events like the present pandemic, with more lasting impact like the death of a loved one, a life-altering incident or accident, or a serious illness, or a devastating business failure, or failed crop due to flood or drought. Each of these changes affects people differently, profoundly, bringing a unique flood of thoughts, strong emotions, and resultant uncertainty. Yet people generally adapt well over time to life-altering situations and stressful conditions, in part thanks to resilience. Resilience as a process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stressors. As much as resilience involves bouncing back from these difficult experiences, it can also involve profound personal growth, which I call or label as entrepreneurship. While these adverse events, much like rough river waters, are certainly painful and difficult, they do not have to determine the outcome of my life or your life. There are many aspects of your life you can control, modify, and grow with. That is the role of resilience. Becoming more resilient not only helps you get through these difficult obstacles and circumstances, it also empowers you to grow and even improve your life along the way. Being resilient does not mean that a person will not experience difficulty or distress. People who have suffered major adversity or trauma in their lives commonly experience emotional pain and stress. In fact, the road to resilience is likely to involve considerable emotional distress. Remember the principles in physics The more the friction, the better the grip and faster the speed. While certain factors might make some individuals more resilient than others, resilience is not necessarily a personality trait that only some people possess and rest not. On the contrary, resilience involves behaviors, thoughts, and actions that anyone can learn and develop. But it is an established fact that presence or absence of resilience in us is determined to a large extent with what is known as self-efficacy or self-esteem. Self-efficacy as individuals' beliefs in their capabilities to mobilize the motivation, cognitive resources, and faculties to exert control over a certain outcome or a given event. It is the belief in one's capabilities to produce, as I said, a certain outcome or goal that is seen as the foundation of human development. Efficacy beliefs regulate human functioning and emotional well-being through cognitive, motivational, and affective processes. When facing adverse events, those who retain the belief that they will be able to exert control over their thoughts are more likely to persevere in their efforts. Those who are self-efficacious are also more likely to reject negative thoughts about themselves or their abilities than those with a sense of personal inefficacy. Thus, unless people believe they can produce desired goals through their actions, they will have very little incentive to persevere in the face of difficulties. Presumably, then, self-efficacy would be an important trait in the development of competence when facing adversity. Perceived self-efficacy likely affects individuals' ability to adapt and deal flexibly with the difficult situations and affects individuals' aspirations, analytical thinking, and perseverance in the face of failure. The construct of self-efficacy is closely related to another construct named as locus of control. Locus of control determines the question, who is responsible for all that is happening to us and our lives? Those who believe that the external factors such as the luck or fate or destiny influence their life and life occurrences are supposed to have external locus of control. But those who believe that they and they alone are responsible for their actions and resultant consequences are supposed to have internal locus of control. Thus, our internal locus of control and self-efficacy determines the degree of our resilience in life. And that explains why many just resign over the perceived overwhelming adversities while few come right on top. We have seen several examples of this phenomenon in our various projects in Asia and Africa. Let me mention a couple of examples from the field of agriculture and apparel business to amplify the point. As per a recent McKinsey report on agriculture, India is a land of contradictions. The country produces 11% of total global agriculture and at the same time is host to the world's largest number of malnourished people. Agriculture provides livelihoods for about half of the Indian population, most of whom are smallholder farmers from the poorest of the poor strata, bottom of pyramid strata. Yet most of the government agricultural subsidies are used by medium and large scale farmers. Parallel to India's tremendous success in modernization of agriculture, smallholder farmers have been completely marginalized. The average debt of a farming household has risen fivefold in a decade, while increase in farm incomes have not kept up, and more than 300,000 Indian farmers have committed suicide since 1995. But despite the gloom, and this is important, few resilient farmers have changed the doomsday scenario by embracing the digital technology. The same McKinsey report further gives one example. Think about farmer-driven uses of digital platforms like WhatsApp. In Bihar, for example, a state of India, 98% of the goat rearing is done by women. And these are the poorest of the poor because they cannot even afford half of an acre of land. Instead, they graze their goats. We know that they are using their cell phones now to upload photos of their goats on eBay-like sites to increase their potential market, where buyers can now be up to 700 to 800 kilometers away. They are fetching anywhere from 20 to 47% more per head for their goats. This is an illustration how the new digital innovations, which we primarily think of as having created efficiencies for larger farming operations, have been also benefiting the very poorest farmers. This also exemplifies the resilience and the innovative approach adoption of the poorest farmers. This kind of resilience not only generates more income, but also improves their self-esteem by generation of wealth enormously. The SARS pandemic of 2002 to 2004 catalyzed the meteoric growth of then a small e-commerce company called Alibaba and helped establish it at the forefront of retail in Asia. This growth was fueled by underlying anxiety around traveling and human contact, like what we see today with COVID-19. The financial crisis of 2008 also produced its own disruptive side effects. Airbnb and Uber shot up in popularity across the West as the subprime crisis meant lower savings and income for the masses, forcing people to share assets in the form of spare rooms and car rides in order to cover for the deficit. There are many startups developing tools to help stop the spread of the coronavirus in the same way, demonstrating entrepreneurship and resilience in the adverse situations. That includes things like artificial intelligence, spread modeling, symptom tracking solutions, chatbots for diagnosis, and people tracking with nearby infection notification. In India, for example, there is an app called Arogya Setu, which alerts you if you have the corona symptoms, and also alerts the locality and the local government officials so that immediate remedial actions are taken. Apparel manufacturing units, which employ large workforce as sewing machine operators in India, have turned their production wheel into producing masks and PPE, personal protective equipments. Doctors have started using video visits for diagnosing and consulting. Children are exposed to online learning. Several EdTech entrepreneurs are busy bringing out new products for online coaching. Car dealers are encouraging virtual visits and online transactions. Many group activities also help develop group resilience and group confidence, and if I may use the word, group self-esteem. Many Indian ladies I know, they chant of hymns in group via Zoom. That's a case in point. To conclude, resilience is the manifestation of our self-efficacy, self-esteem, and internal locus of control. It is possible for every individual to nurture resilience and face the pandemic bravely and explore new opportunities with optimism. The choice between dejection and paralysis on the one hand and active exploration on the other hand is having a resilient and inquisitive mindset. In my company, EcoDev, we had developed a Resilience Excellence Index, REI, a behavioral psychometric tool that measures resilience and provides a roadmap for people with entrepreneurial mindset with different backgrounds, agriculture, commercial, retail, and so on. We believe and can help repair the ship which is in the middle of the choppy ocean by chalking out a proper roadmap and inculcating the resilience in the people. Thank you very much.